What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NFL Nerds podcast on this beautiful NFL kickoff Thursday. While that is irrelevant to the teams we'll be discussing today, it's a beautiful sight to behold. We've all been waiting. In 2 short hours, we will all get to see Josh Allen and Big Bad Matthew Stafford take the field. I'm excited for that game. I'm glad they blessed us with that Thursday night opener. A lot better than some years past. But
Last year was good though.
last year was good. Last year was
Last year was
fun.
very good.
Yeah.
Had
Um,
that controversial ending. Some PI think on Godwin or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, no, that was a really good game. And I think there actually is a decent amount that could be learned from week one games. And I think tonight especially is I think a lot will be revealed about the Bills. This is
Yeah,
good competition for them, I think. I think if they come out there and beat the brakes off the Rams, then we're looking at a clear Super Bowl favorite here. Um, but anyways, um, division with the team that lost to the Super Bowl champion Rams. We'll be covering today the AFC North with AFC division winner Cincinnati Bengals here. So let's just start right off with them. Big season for them last season, even though it ended in ultimate disappointment. I think any Bengals fan would be lying to themselves if they even thought they'd be making the AFC Championship. Probably even not the divisional round. You know that. What a
and they
season for them.
shouldn't have.
No, they
They
shouldn't
should
have.
not have.
They
No,
weren't. They weren't the second best team in the league, but I still think they were. They took advantage of a weak NFL, which is good for
that's
them.
true.
Um, but so their win total this year is set at 10, which is, now they've got some expectations. They're projected to win the division according to the market. How do you feel about 10?
Yeah, I wanted to start off by I know the Bengals made the Super Bowl last year, but I really do not like what they did to get there. Jamar Chase is amazing, probably the second or third best receiver in football. It was a great pick. Um, but I mean, it was an obvious pick. Like you reunite him with Burrow, you get that tandem bag. It's not like they really should deserve like that much praise for making the right pick at 5. The O line they went into the season with last year, like trying to compete was abysmal, like just like so bad.
So
And
bad.
I mean, they finally kind of like done a lot to improve it. Like Lyle Collins is really good. They have a right tackle now, and Jonah Williams had a good year at left tackle. And I know Riley Reef wasn't awful for them, but like you're going into the season with like Quinn Spain and all of these like really, really, really bad players. And I don't know where their O line ended up ranking last year. I don't think very well. Um, but I know going into the season, like just like an awful offensive line.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had the weapons, and um, they've drafted receivers really well. To the point where they'll probably be smart to trade one of those guys and get good value for wide receiver 3 Tyler Boyd or wide receiver 2 T Higgins, who was a wide receiver 1 on basically like majority of other teams. Really, really good player. I think he's gonna have a great year this year. Um, but I mean, they went into like their defense was not that good last year. Like really, like they went into the season last year like preseason rankings like bottom 10 for everybody, and they exceeded expectations by a shit ton. Like I mean, so much. Um, but like I think there's a lot of luck. I mean, obviously it took 2 or 3 game winning field goals to even get them there, which is like literally marginal victories. Um, and having that consistent marginal victory, especially in the playoffs, is really unlikely. But that's just kind of how football works. But there's not, unless you're a Tom Brady led team, there's not going to be, like, oh, we made the Super Bowl last year and we improved our team. We're going to make it again this year. I don't think that's really true. Um, I think they're kind of a little. I mean, they added talent for sure. But I think with the expectation, I think they come down to earth a little bit. I mean, they were what, a 10-win team last year, right? 10-7.
Yeah, but maybe, yeah, I think 10 wins sounds right.
I,
That's right.
I, their division was also not hard last year. The Steelers had, Ben Roethlisberger was not hard to play against, and that's probably not going to change with the quarterbacks on the Steelers. The Ravens underperformed.
Lost 6 straight 10 the year. The Ravens did.
Yes, they lost 6 straight 10. Yeah, insane. Um, and obviously the Browns with Baker. Like the Browns should have been a way better team than they were, but Baker was not good. Um, so they're a tough team for me. I like 10. I just like I have this feeling. I think I'm gonna go under on them. Honestly, I think I'm gonna take the under. I mean, I like what they did this offseason, but I think a lot of them were like name heavy moves, um, as opposed to like scheme fits. Like I don't know how good of a pass blocking guy Lyle Collins is going to be in that scheme. But as they showed last year, it's not as hard to protect Joe Burrow because he is smart, gets the ball out quick, but he does take a lot of his pressure to sack rate was like unbelievably high. Like I think higher than Justin Fields. So that's something he's got to improve on, and he'll probably regress or progress to the mean because he moves well. But I think I'm going to take under just barely. I think they win 9 games.
Yeah, yeah. I feel so conflicted on this Bengals team because
Yeah, they're tough.
not to brag, but I was one of the earliest proponents of last year's Bengals team, I think. I'd say around week 2 or 3, I was like, this team is going to be competing for a wild card spot, which
Definitely
was
not
a
week
very
two.
no, oh yeah, no, true.
And
Not,
then
not after they
when they
lost to the
lost to the
Bears.
Bears.
I don't remember which week, but I mean, being a big PFF guy, I was obviously gushing over the fact that they took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. I mean, that's the obvious pick there. And he proved, instantly top 10 at least wide receiver, and he'll be top 3 or 4
he
this year.
he's entering
Uh,
this year like I would still take him over Cooper Cup. I'm gonna be honest with you.
yeah,
Even though my
yeah,
argument for Cooper Cup is limited success at the top level, I'm still taking Jamar Chase over him, even though he's got 1 year under his belt.
yeah. With Jamar, it's just like he's too talented and not bet
He's
on like
so
to be
good.
better than everybody else. Like
He's
he's
so
just
good.
ridiculously good. I mean, I don't know. People, I think most people have got the memo at this point that he's, going to be an all-timer, but he is if you're not aware. And yeah, I think people forget about T Higgins a lot because Jamar gets so much of the shine, but T Higgins is, I mean, obviously he's not just as good because no one is just as good as Jamar Chase, but he
Right.
is the best, I mean, probably the best wide receiver two in the league at this point. I don't think anybody's that close. I mean, Waddle maybe, but I'd take Higgins over
No,
Waddle.
I'm taking Higgins over Waddle.
Yeah. And I do like what they did with the offensive line. It's kind of similar to what the Bills did. You just want to build like an average O line across the board. You don't need to get like superstars at certain positions because if you just have a good offensive line with consistency, your year in and year out consistency, at least with the personnel, you're gonna develop a good offensive line. And so I think they addressed the offensive line as well as they could have this offseason.
Oh
So
yeah, no,
it
they're
was
off. They've got two good guards. They both their
yeah,
tackles are good. I mean, Lyle Collins was really really good last year. Um, I don't
yeah.
know who their center is, but I know they brought in Ted Karras and Alex
Okay.
Kappa maybe at guards.
Yeah.
Maybe it's still Billy Price, who's not very good, but I mean they've upgraded really really well. Rest of the offensive line.
Yeah. On PFF, it's listed Karras at center and Kappa at right guard
Oh,
right now.
Karras. Okay,
Um,
Karras at center. Oh, that makes sense.
yeah. So I mean, look, it's a good offensive line, and I think this offense, at least on paper, is better than last year's offense. You're getting year two, Jamar Chase. You're getting Burrow off of being the best graded quarterback in the league. I think it's
Really? Oh,
yeah,
probably
yeah.
playoffs included. Yeah.
I don't think it was. I think he ended the year as their best
Seriously?
graded. Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean,
I'm fact
I've
checking that.
yeah, go ahead. Um, yeah, I mean Burrow. I also looked at like some of the timing numbers, and Burrow was just like far and away the best graded
Yeah.
quarterback under 2.5 seconds in the pocket. I mean, he's probably the best quick decision maker in the NFL, which is, I mean, Joe Burrow's terrific. I think it's going to be hard for him to consistently be like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but I think right now, at least where he is, he's at that point where, if there's 1 or 2 injuries in the top 5, then he's in the top 5. So that's
Joe Burrow was not the number one graded quarterback in the
was
regular
it?
season. It was Tom Brady.
Oh, shoot.
Burrow was two though,
You're
like point 0.3 away, and then he surpassed him in the playoffs.
so sorry on the false
Yeah.
information. But yeah, he was, if you're two to Tom Brady, you're really number one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but
That's what they say.
yes, yes. The thing is, I kind of what you said, this team got so lucky to make the Super Bowl last year. And
Crazy.
I mean, I was cheering for them in the playoffs, but even at a point I was like, this team's a little bit not as good as everybody else in the NFL.
No,
Like,
no.
why are they here? I think moving forward, I mean, you just can't expect them to win the Super Bowl. But with all that being said, I'm gonna take the over on 10 wins. I think Burrow he kind of showed his ceiling last year, but I think he's kind of going to sit right around that same place. I think we're going to see a big year two leap from Jamar. I mean, obviously, it's hard to take a big step off having the best rookie season in NFL history, but I think he's just a lock
Justin
for top.
Jefferson did it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, those two guys are ridiculous.
So
And
good.
defensively, you know, I think their defense is pretty unremarkable overall. But one thing I will note is I love what they did in terms of kind of, they recognized they had a quarterback on a rookie deal and said, we're going to go spend money and piece together a secondary because we know we can compete
Right.
this year and next year. And, it's not the most terrific secondary you've ever seen, but it's like how to spend your resources and how to like go and if you want to just like bring in a secondary that can play in a Super Bowl off the streets, like they did a good job doing that.
Right,
Um,
right. Yeah,
and
Chadibo was really good for them.
yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
scrap from the Cowboys. Like, oh, like this random guy in the Cowboys fans, and like he had a really good year.
yeah.
Logan Wilson too has had a
Alvaro.
really good year, even though he kind of lost on the Super Bowl, but on that hold. But he was really good last year.
Yeah, the defense is pretty good. I mean, not much. I feel like it's super middle of the pack overall.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
and Zach Taylor is also kind of I feel like one of the most zero expected value coaches in the league. Like it's just
I don't like him.
yeah. I think opinions are generally he's whatever to don't like him. So and I think that's only going to get worse over the next couple of years because that's coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. Um,
Yeah, exactly. He went to the Super Bowl, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's not good."
yeah, no one's. I mean, he has to be the least talked about head coach over the last like 10 Super Bowls. I mean, so many characters, and he's just so. Yeah. But I think
Right.
I think
He's
this
like if
team
Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals made the Super Bowl.
exactly, and if Cliff had no personality, yeah, I think it's fair to say Burrow's going to be a top five quarterback. I think Jamar Chase is going to be a top three receiver, and I think the rest of this offense is above average, pretty far above average, honestly. So I think that's enough to bring them to 11 wins.
I
Um,
think so too.
yeah.
But I'm still gonna take the under.
um,
That's like if I was given an edge on that, that'd be like a minus like 4 under 10 for the Bengals. Minus 4% PFF edge on my bet.
yeah, I think all my predictions are PFF Ed friendly, so you can go ahead and take
I
everything
should
up
I
here
should I
is
should have checked mine.
um but now moving on to the Baltimore Ravens, the Bengals' biggest competition this year for sure. Part of me is actually surprised the Ravens win total is below the Bengals. I don't know. I feel like the Bengals are getting a lot more media hype, but I guess the market doesn't necessarily agree with it. But their win total is still set at 9. How do you feel about that?
9, yeah, right? 9, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, what, tomorrow's the deadline. Lamar set to get a contract extension. I still
Yeah,
can't believe, like, you can have whatever opinion you want on Lamar Jackson and how good he is, and if he's top 10 or if it's top 12 or wherever he is, 8 to 12. I think that's pretty consensus. Like, that's a quarterback you don't let go. It's a quarterback you pay. The Cardinals did it with Kyler. Like, is Kyler worth 46 mil? I don't know, but it's a decision I'm not mad at because it's like you get your quarterback and like it's like I know the value of a quarterback on a rookie deal, but like when you have a top 10 quarterback, like that's good enough. When you have a quarterback good enough to win a Super Bowl with, like, you just got to pay it. Anyway, regardless of that, and just speaking about the Ravens, um, I think 9 is low for them. I don't know if their roster is better than the Bengals. I think it's probably pretty close. But um, I think Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in football. I think that's also pretty consensus. But I don't like what they've done with the rest of their receiving group. Rashad Bateman is, like he's a talent for sure, but he wasn't very good last year. They traded away their wide receiver one in a competitive year, and they got a lot back. So that's a move. Like I won't be like, oh, Eric DeCosta, like you're dumb. Probably one of the best executives in the league. But it's tough to go into the season with Rashad Bateman, Tylan Wallace, who else? Devin Duvernay, Demarcus Robinson are their wide receivers. It's just a bunch of meh. And you got James Prochet. Is that what you said?
Prochet.
Yeah, they took him. I think like maybe third or fourth round last year, 2 years ago. But that offense is just like underwhelming talent wise at wide receiver. Obviously Mark Andrews is great, and their O line is pretty good. Ronnie Stanley, I think he's going to play this year. He's been hurt for a while. He's one of the best left tackles in football when he plays. Kevin Zeeler, they brought over from the Giants. It was him. I think he's done a good job filling in at guard. So,
all right, what were your opinions on Bateman coming out of the draft?
I really liked Bateman coming out of the draft. Actually, I thought he was like a really talented. I bought in the hype like early in that season, because I remember like he didn't play or something, and then he came back and like played a game. I think, but the year before he got drafted, he took like a almost like Jamar Chase route, where because it was the COVID year, and I don't think maybe he played a game or something. So I was like, I didn't really know too much about him, but I liked the tools for sure. Like I thought he was really talented. He ended up going in the first round, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he was a first round pick. I still think he's really talented, and maybe the Ravens passing offense is not well suited for a guy like him, or really any wide receiver. Just the way this sheer nature of Greg Roman's scheme. But I thought he'd be a lot better than he was. But maybe he'll come in as into himself this year. Basically, their second option on that offense. So their offense is solid. When you have Lamar Jackson, like he's shown time and time again. His wide receiver one's been Hollywood Brown for however long, who is clearly not wide receiver one caliber. But he creates like crazy. Like his legs are just like another tool and another asset that he can bring into every single play, and that raises his floor like substantially. Because even when his passing is not on, and even in games where he's going to throw 2 interceptions, and obviously those aren't good quarterback games, but whenever his throwing isn't there, his legs always are, and those are always a game changer. And on every single play, every RPO, and that's why their run scheme is so good. More him than probably Greg Roman, and same thing with Colin Kaepernick when he was with the 49ers, when Greg Roman was there. Is you got these really good quarterbacks, and yeah, it's smart to use them in a lot of shotgun RPO type things and not have him play under center too much. But if you're gonna go RPO, Lamar can keep, Lamar can give, or Lamar can throw the slant. You have 3 options on every single play, and that's gonna isolate 2 defenders on every single play, and it's basically up front. It's a 5v4 in the run game. He's a really big weapon. That's why I think you should pay him, regardless of how good of a thrower you think he is. I think the bottom consensus would be like he's probably average-ish. He needs to get paid. Defense wise, I see they brought in Kyle Fuller. that is news to me. Kyle Fuller's awful. One of the good Ryan Pace moves actually was getting rid of him and freeing up like 11 mil. And Bears fans were so mad. So mad about that. And Akeem Hicks, they were trying to trade Pace too. That would have been a good move. He ended up walking for nothing. But Marlon Humphrey's great corner. The only time I've really seen him get truly embarrassed was by Justin Jefferson. They added Marcus Williams from the Saints, who the Saints and Mickey Loomis were not able to keep because they're in negative 100 mil every single year in cap, so they had to let some good players go. So I got Tyrann Mathieu there. So I guess it's not like that big of a deal for them. But Marcus Williams is really good. They have talent on that defensive line. Odafe Owe, who they took from Penn State. After they traded Orlando Brown, I liked that move from them. I didn't expect Orlando Brown to be that good with the Chiefs, though. That's a Bears target to look for at left tackle next year if Brandon Jones isn't good. Anyway, um, always it was good last year. You showed a spurt, so I mean, I like their defense for sure. Um, they still have Martindale, who's a really good defensive coordinator. Wink, aggressive guy. Hopefully Patrick Queen can have a better year than last year. Because
Yeah.
that learning curve for linebackers is probably the steepest, probably of all positions in the NFL.
I
Um,
mean, he improved on his rookie season at
oh,
least.
that's right. He's already in year three. My God, wow. Yeah, I forgot he was on that LSU team. Yeah,
Hmm.
so he's in year three. I mean, he wasn't the worst linebacker in football last year like he was the year before, but this is
Yeah.
probably his make or break year. Um, yeah, but it is a steep curve. I've been rambling a lot. I'm gonna go over 9.
Over 9. Over 9. I'm gonna agree with you on that. I think this team is pretty good. I think it's a 10 win team if I've ever seen one. It's a good 10-7
Yeah,
team.
it's a very 10 and
Uh,
17.
yeah. I think offensively, I go in waves with Lamar. I think he was way overrated after his MVP season. And coming into this season, I think people, I don't know. I feel like the consensus is probably pretty fair on him right now. I feel like most people would have him in that like 7 to 9 quarterback range, which is probably just about where I'd have him. I will say, I think he he always just has a ceiling that, or not always, but at least for these next 5 years, I'd say Lamar has this ceiling that Dak doesn't have, Kyler doesn't have.
Right,
Um,
right.
all these
Oh,
guys. I
Kyler.
mean,
Okay.
Russ. I think Lamar's 90th percentile is way higher than Kyler's, to be honest. Um, but I mean, because obviously, I mean, we saw, yeah, 2019. I mean, Lamar was just absurd. That was a
Insane.
that, yeah, ridiculous season to watch. But this offense around him is it's pretty lackluster. Mark Andrews, I think we're in agreement there. I think everyone's kind of in agreement. Top two tight end probably at worst. The only thing I will say is I saw someone on TikTok who was like, shouldn't draft Mark Andrews because all of his production came in like the last 6 games when Lamar was out. It's like, dude,
Oh,
who
I forgot
cares? Like,
Lamar got hurt. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Tyler Huntley almost beat the Packers.
Tyler Huntley's gonna be a starter for a team next year. Can't
He
wait.
should be.
Um,
Like how like these guys like Drew Lock and like Trubisky and all these guys are
yeah,
fucking
I'd
Brissett.
much rather have
Like
Huntley.
what is
Oh
stopping?
my
I mean,
God.
maybe the Ravens didn't want to trade
Yeah,
Huntley to
that's
the
true.
Browns, but that's like a perfect like you're playing for 12 games. Like he's probably gonna win you like 6 or 7. Deshaun comes in is whatever about Deshaun. We will not be discussing Deshaun, but he's probably still top 5 quarterback in the league.
Yeah,
So
yeah, unfortunately.
oh Browns.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like surrounding Lamar, there's just isn't much. I mean, this wide receiver crew is just bad, and okay. Sorry, I'm going off track a little bit here, but I will say I think the Ravens are like one of two teams, and the other one we'll get to here next, in like the entire NFL, where I trust their decision making over my own and over the media's, like for sure. I think they they usually have very sound reasoning in like everything they do. And they're
Yeah,
just
for sure. John Harbaugh's
they're
great.
yeah, John. I mean, yeah, John Harbaugh is just the dream CEO coach. He is like as good as it gets.
Right.
I mean, I think at least the smart people have definitely caught on to the fact that John Harbaugh is like one of the most positive EV coaches in the league. But
Oh, for sure.
outside of, I mean, I don't know what like the media or the consensus thinks on him. I think
I
most people
think they
probably just,
like him. I don't know.
yeah, 'cause he's been around a long time. Um, and just because he wins a lot. But I mean, this is just a great organization. Like I will say, they're able to consistently win, and that's what happens when you make good decisions. When you trade Marquise Brown for a first, when you trade Orlando Brown, like these things pile up, and
Yeah,
they let you have a 10 win team, even when
every
it's like
single year.
clearly not. Yeah, exactly. With that being said, the wide receivers are bad. Especially after the loss of Marquise Brown. I mean, Rashad Bateman, I agree with you. I liked him coming out of college. I thought he was good. And last season was really disappointing. I didn't realize, I guess, how disappointing it was. And maybe maybe through the film, there's more than meets the eye than the numbers. But I mean, can't be relying on him as your wide receiver one in a team
No,
in
no.
you're wishing to compete. Um, but I still do think and hope they'll rely on Mark Andrews primarily. Um, he's the best target on this team for sure. Um, Greg Roman, I think, gets a lot of hate. I'm not the biggest Greg Roman guy, but I will say I think he is able to orchestrate offenses that put up points, and that's a lot more than other offensive coordinators can say.
Yeah,
I think Lamar would be better in another system? Yeah, probably, but we also wouldn't see Lamar
it's a
like
tough
we've
one.
seen. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a tough one for sure. Because
I
Greg
I
Roman
don't
is far and away the best run scheme for Lamar to
yeah
succeed, but his pass scheme just sucks. And I mean, I guess the question is out there. There's no good answer. If it's is it Lamar's fault or is it Greg Roman's fault? And maybe that's where the split is coming in the Ravens. And Lamar thinks like, yeah, it's you guys that haven't developed my passing game and have been really focused on me running and being a elusive runner and being that being my strength. And the
yeah.
Ravens are going, well, you're not that good of a passer, so like that's what we need to do to win. So maybe that's where the contract dispute is coming. I have no sources
I mean,
or good ideas.
is the thing is the thing is with Greg Roman is you don't want to go away from him. I feel like if you're the Ravens at this point, because it's just
Yeah.
like he's proven that like he's going to be able to get points out of Lamar.
Right.
And like I don't think every offensive coordinator would be able to scheme a good offense for Lamar. And I think this has been proven to be at least better than probably replacement value at offensive coordinator. So I don't think it's worth it for them to move off him. Um, but yeah, back to the contract extension, like you were saying, I got a lot of crap because last offseason I was like, I would not extend Lamar yet. Um, and
Did he do
I
enough last season though to prove that to you? I don't think so. I think last
no,
year was his I mean, other than his rookie year, which was really bad. I think last year was his worst year of his career.
for sure. And I mean, even 2020 was good, but it was obviously a downgrade from 2019. But yeah, not the season you want if you're looking for a contract extension. And Lamar's going to age a lot worse than some of these other quarterbacks. It's just you have to bring it up because it's true. Like, and I I I don't think Lamar is going to accept that. Um, because obviously if you're a quarterback looking for a super big deal, you have a super big ego, and you think you're going to be able to play for till you're however old.
Right, right. At
But
least
I don't.
that's probably a selling point.
Yeah, I I think Lamar in a perfect world should, or I think in the perfect world for the Ravens, they would get Lamar on like a 3 or 4 year deal, just give him the most money in the league, but just ride out the rest of his prime with the Ravens, and I think it's a good deal to have. But I don't think he wants that. I think he has to be at least somewhat subconsciously aware that in 6 years his market's going to look way different than it will this offseason.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But
So
the thing
he
is if the Ravens don't pay him, somebody will.
Yeah,
The
that's the thing.
Dolphins are like I know he liked the tweet. I'm not even saying that because of that, but that's a really good fit.
It's a good
Like
fit. Yeah, it exactly. I
I
mean
would
that's me.
like to see that. Jets
Yeah,
too, if Zach Wilson's not good.
I
Those are
mean
teams
even
like I mean, there's 20 teams in the league that should go after Lamar. Like there just
exactly,
is.
exactly. And I think there are at least 6 or 7 teams who don't care enough to give him like a 8, 9 year contract.
When is the last time an elite quarterback who's not Tom Brady and over the age of like 38 has entered the market? Like I can't think of one.
Cousins.
This
Yeah,
guy,
no, I mean, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen exactly. And
Kirk Cousins.
this is this is a really interesting like board because it's like where is Lamar relative to someone like Kirk Cousins even because obviously he's better, but is he like 2 tiers better than Kirk Cousins entering free
Yeah,
agency?
yeah.
Is 1 tier? Like
Well, Kirk
I don't
still
know.
got paid.
He did.
He
He
just had
did.
his extension. He was supposed to make 45 mil this year until they restructured that. So he's going to be making 12 mil in 2014, not on the team, and 6 mil in sorry, 2024 not on the team, and 6 million on 2025 not on the team, or at least not under contract for now. So the Vikings will owe Kirk Cousins 18 mil to not play on the Vikings because that is how good Rick Spielman was at handling that whole situation.
Just how good Kirk Cousins is. You want to pay him to just remember he was a Viking. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I'm super interested to see what happens with Lamar this season. I think he's probably the storyline to watch in this division this year. Um, we've never really seen anything like this, so it's going to be a lot of fun to track. I think there's a chance he just comes out here and has a 90 PFF grade again and
Yeah,
gets
him
his
and
10.
Fields at the top of the league.
That'd be fire. I mean, if Fields
I
and
don't. I
Jackson,
mean, I really don't care who else is at the top of the league as long as Fields is
yeah,
there.
it can be
I mean,
Kirk.
other than I guess like if Trubisky was there, like I'd be like, what the fuck? But
That
even
would
then, I'd be like, that'd be like a cool moment for me. That'd be like both of my childhood. I mean, I guess not childhood anymore, but favorite quarterbacks of my life being really good.
imagine if
Not
they
that.
were to the Super Bowl.
I mean, both of them are realistically are going to be like 60 BFF grade, but
Maybe Jake Keller can make a special appearance for the Steelers.
yeah,
That'll spice things up.
he'll go back to the Dolphins after Tua is awful.
Oh right,
Him and Adam Gase will make their return.
big Jake Keller. Gotta love his
Yeah.
political views.
Oh yeah, him and
Anyway,
Brian are like really smart guys.
yes, they're the guys of my childhood, really representing America proud. Um, but yeah, and as far as Ravens defense go, I feel like it's kind of the same year in and year out. They're just so good, and they're well coached, and I think schematically they're always very good. I don't. I mean, I do sometimes wonder why Patrick Queen still plays the field for them, um, but he does it.
Brutal. Like I don't even know how that happened. Like he was so talented. Like it was like they drafted him. Like oh, he's gonna be pretty good eventually.
Hmm. It's so
So
sad,
bad.
and I don't know.
Those movies.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
but Jordan Brooks too was in that class. I thought was gonna be good. He's not been very good so far. Although I do think he's talented. I think
Mhm.
there's another guy that's not been that good. Maybe it was Isaiah Simmons actually. I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah,
Anyway,
but yeah, this is a good defense. I'm gonna take the over 10 wins. This team is good. They should be just about that. They should be just about good. But I think a big Lamar season is the only thing that can really catapult them to Super Bowl contenders.
imagine he has a big season and they don't have. I mean, they could tag him. Never mind. So they're not that handcuffed.
Yeah, but a big season would look bad for them, even though I think they're doing nothing wrong in their process. I think they need
No,
another
me
year to
neither.
evaluate.
Me neither. Yeah, and it's fair.
Um,
And they have
yeah,
next year. They can tag him. They can tag him again after that. So
I don't think, yeah, they're
they
treating
won't.
this
But
situation
yeah, yeah. I don't
right.
disagree with what they're doing. It's just like you got that quarterback. It's like it's hard not to pay him. Either way, really.
Yeah.
He's on the border for me of you need to pay him, and like I could see him. Give him another year, or maybe they're gonna keep tagging him and see like can he make it past whatever 2 or 3 more years? Can his body sustain that? Which I don't think would be that dumb. And if the Ravens do it, then I know it's not that dumb because they are smart.
That was what I was saying they should do last offseason. I was saying they should tag him twice.
Yeah,
Because at that point, I mean, I don't even really care if he has a good season on a second franchise tag. I'm just letting him walk. Like it's
yeah,
you've
yeah.
provided more than enough service as the 32nd
Oh,
pick in
for
the
sure.
draft.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He's going to be like a
Take it.
fucking like 3-win player every single year, basically. Because
Yeah.
MVP season, probably like a 5 or 6 win player. Like, I mean, that season alone, he was worth this draft stock by far. Like, way over.
Yeah.
If he was the number one overall pick and he won MVP, is worth his draft spot. So
Exactly.
think I'd like the Vikings or Lions did not take Lamar Jackson, especially the
it-
Vikings. That's a move I thought they were gonna make.
I mean, at least, I mean, obviously not all 31 teams, but every single team. I can't remember any of the trades from that draft, but they passed on him. You know exactly. Yeah,
That was the. I mean, they traded up for Josh. The Bills traded up for Josh Allen, so that was good.
that's true.
Baker
Um,
went 1, Sam Darnold went 3, Josh Rosen went 10. I went
that
32.
was an exciting draft. I remember
Yeah,
I
it
was
was. It was. It was very exciting.
the Bears got an inside linebacker. Um,
Bears.
but
Well, to be fair, I wanted Tremaine Tremaine Edmonds. So
Did you? Oh wow.
all right. This was like 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago. You had to cut me some slack on wanting the inside linebacker. I was like entering high school.
Yeah, I wanted
Well, no, I
Quentin
wanted
Nelson.
Quentin Nelson. Yeah, that's what I wanted, but I didn't think it was realistic. So then I wanted that's Tremaine. What's it? Tremaine Johnson, right? The
Edmonds.
Tremaine
Tremaine.
Edmonds.
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds
I
playing the
watched
night.
I watched a hype tape of his on YouTube and was sold. I was like, yep, he's gonna be
Actually,
good.
was that the Calvin Ridley year?
No, I think Calvin Ridley was the year before. Because I
Oh yeah,
think,
you're right. You're right. I really wanted Calvin Ridley.
yeah, me too. I was excited for Ridley, but I was like, there wasn't eight was a weird spot for the Bears to be picking in
Yeah, it
that draft.
was. It
Anyways,
was.
enough on
And
the
I mean,
Bears.
Mike McGlinchey would have been a cool pick. Anyway,
That's yeah, yeah. Onto the team that copied the Bears uniforms, the Cleveland Browns. Um, they have an interesting quarterback situation to say the least. Um, and it has set their win total at 8.5. How do you think this tale of two seasons goes for the Browns?
the Browns are a weird team. Um, weirder because of the 8.5. I thought it was going to be a lot lower because Jacoby Brissett is their starter. And he is not an NFL starting caliber quarterback. But they've made Baker look probably better than he is for however many years. I think Kevin Stefanski is really good. He comes from that Kubiak type coaching scheme um, from the Vikings. Um, uh, their defense is obviously good. Like I mean, they fucked up the Bears last year like badly. Miles Garrett,
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney. Um, Denzel Ward is one of the better corners in the league. John Johnson was a great signing from the Rams. So they have a lot of talent on defense. I mean, I know they open up against the Panthers this week. That is something I've looked into, and so that is a win for them. If anybody wants to bet, I think per my sources, the Browns are the underdogs. So
Yeah, true.
so
It's
the
true.
Panthers, Baker Mayfield, Ben McAdoo, and Matt Rule are the favorites. Um, if anybody's still watching at this point, take the Browns.
Yeah.
Like their defense is good enough to make the Panthers offense look like shit. Ben McAdoo is fucking terrible. There is no like that downgrade. I don't care what you think about Joe Brady, but that downgrade from Joe Brady to Ben McAdoo is unbelievable. Like,
Uh,
unbelievable.
I mean, that team is so poorly ran. I can't believe we didn't talk
So
about that.
I fucking hate the Panthers. Anyway, more about the Browns. They traded for Amari Cooper. I just remembered that. That was
Yeah.
fifth round pick. I mean, they took on his money. That's a move the Bears should have made. I know I say that a lot, but that's like you have the cap. Like anyway, again, I get
Oh, it's
more
true.
back to the Browns. I think Donovan Peoples Jones is a good receiver. Obviously, Nick Chubb is a great running back, and their O line is always great. Forever, we've always said Baker can succeed there because of how good their help is, and that hasn't really changed. If anything, I know they lost Odell, but if anything, they probably improved that wide receiver with Amari Cooper. Lost Jarvis Landry, who was like, whatever, he's wide receiver 3 now on the Saints. So I mean, I really like their roster. The Jacoby Brissett thing is so tough. Like the 8.5 is like a really, really good spot. Because I think they're a very average team with Jacoby Brissett. The 5 games Deshaun Watson will play, though, I think they are one of the better teams in the NFL. Because that's just how good Deshaun Watson is. So I'm. Maybe it's actually 16 with Deshaun. So if it is 5, I'm gonna take the under. If it's 6, I think it's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
Week 8. They're because it was week 18. So I'm gonna take the over. If they finish with 8 wins and Deshaun plays 5, that's what I meant to say. But I'm gonna take the over. I think Deshaun Watson. I should probably look at their schedule. This is kind of poor predicting by me without looking at their schedule. But I think they are a 9-win team, even with Jacoby Brissett starting for some of the games. They get the Panthers. They're gonna play the Steelers a couple times. They're gonna probably get a win out of that. Fucking Mitchell Trubisky starting. You know, yeah, I'm gonna go over. I think they're gonna win 9 games. I think they're a really good team with Deshaun. I think they're probably an average team with Jacoby Brissett. Even though Jacoby Brissett sucks, I think the rest of the team is good enough. I'll take the over.
I'm gonna agree with you again. I'm gonna take the third over of the division. I think
Wow.
this team wins 9 games. Both the Ravens and the Browns, I kind of actually all three of these teams, I'm kind of hesitant on the over, but I'm gonna take the over. But I could very well see all three of these teams finishing under their win total. Although it'd be surprising, I think. But anyways, I think this team is like a 9-win team. They Jacoby Brissett is bad, right? But he's not going to like Nathan Peterman you games. Like he's he might lose you a game or two, but he's not gonna lose you
Yeah,
every game he plays,
right,
which
right.
which is fine. And look, I mean, he is one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league without a doubt. Um, he'll be fine. He'll win them a couple games, and just if he can win them like 4 games before Deshaun Watson comes back, if you have this team with Deshaun Watson for 6 games, you're gonna probably win 9 games. And that's all they need to do. I mean, look, I obviously Deshaun Watson is a terrible person.
Yeah,
But
fuck him. But he's a good football player.
Deshaun Watson, he's terrible, but he is a tremendous footballer. I think some people might be forgetting that, maybe choosing to forget it, rightfully so. But
Yeah, fairly
with
enough. But yeah,
yeah, with Deshaun Watson, this team is probably top 5. Um, I I I mean, he just quarterback is the big hole. Everywhere else is at least average, and it's good at certain places. And if you add a top 5 quarterback to that, he's going to elevate everybody another tier, and it's
yeah.
going to
The thing with Deshaun is like his last season was like very similar to how people see Josh Allen now. Like he was
yeah.
that good. Like it was like could he challenge Mahomes for quarterback one? And this team fucking went 4-12. Like they were awful, like so bad. And he was like unbelievable. Like before all this stuff came out about, he's an awful person. Fuck him. I hate him. But like before all this stuff came out about him that we didn't know, like I was dying for the Bears to trade whatever, literally whatever, to get him. Like literally, like there was not a package I would have been mad at. Like you could have traded the fucking entire roster, 3 first-round picks, a fourth on draft day, 3 seconds, and I would have been like, "There's your top 3 quarterback," and off you go. Luckily, they didn't do that,
I
um,
agree.
because I mean, no one would have known at the time.
No,
Um, but yeah, he got caught in this horrible stuff, to which he is 100% guilty. I will not debate anybody on that. But yeah, regardless, we're predicting football.
yeah,
And when he plays, he's like, I mean, I think he's going to show people again that he's probably the third best quarterback in the league. Even
I
though
do
people
too.
are probably trying to forget it, rightfully so, as you said. I'm trying to forget that he's even in the league. And I made a tier list today. I left him out of it on purpose.
So,
I don't like him. But if I were to make an honest ranking with all the quarterbacks that are starting some point in this year, he's probably in my top 5, maybe number 6 at the lowest. But yeah, may want to make it known that we hate him a lot.
we are publicly coming out against Deshaun Watson, person as a
Very,
podcast.
very brave. I know. We're so brave.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, he's nuts. He's in that Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes talent tier, and I
100%.
don't I
100%.
don't there's much debating it, honestly. I mean, what he
No.
did, and it's incredible. But anyways, enough on him. I think they win a lot of games that he plays, though. I think the wide receiver core is pretty average, but I really like that they got Amari.
Yeah.
Gets and obviously Amari's not really a star at this point, but I do like that they at least got a name out there. Um, and Amari obviously is still really, really good. And this offensive line is not as good as it has been in years past, but it's still, I mean, at worst, probably 5 or 6, somewhere in the top 10 at least. But I mean,
Yeah,
they've
for
got
sure.
it's the guards are the best in the league. 2 good tackles. It's impressive.
They lost JC Tretter. That's who they lost.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Center JC
Um,
Tretter
and I think
retired to the NFLPA.
right, he's a big big union guy. I think this is maybe the first running back I've brought up on the podcast, but I think Nick Chubb is the best runner in the NFL. In terms
Agree.
of, yeah, he's really, really impressive with the football in his hands. And obviously, running backs don't have as much value as other positions, but I think it's worth noting because that still is an edge that the Browns have over every other NFL team. Um, and defensively, I mean, I really like their secondary talent wise. I will say, I
And Grant
think,
Delpit too. They have. I forgot about
yeah,
him.
Delpit, John Johnson. I mean, his 2020 season was ridiculously good. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
And the corners, I mean, Newsome's awesome. Ward
Oh, I
is
forgot about Greg Newsome,
like,
Northwestern guy. When I used to be a Northwestern fan.
yep. First
Yeah, I
round
loved
pick.
him. Yeah, really good. He's
He's
awesome.
really good.
Greedy Williams is like their backup, and he's a good player
Yeah.
too.
And I mean, obviously they have, the second best pass rusher in the league and Miles Garrett. Like this defense is really good. And
Who's the
JOK had
best?
Aaron Donald.
Oh, I thought you meant
Yeah.
edge rusher.
Edge, edge rusher, I think Miles Garrett's the best. I mean,
Yeah, him or Max Crosby. I agree.
yeah. And people think TJ Watt's better than Miles Garrett, but I don't know. I
No,
take
no, no,
Garrett
no, no,
over,
no, no,
yeah.
no.
Garrett's
TJ
just a
Watt is a sack guy. I get it, but he is not. He does not disrupt the game like Miles Garrett does,
I
or
mean,
other quarterbacks.
Miles Garrett's game against the Bears last season was like one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen against the Bears. I mean, he just
I
manhandled up. It was like you could have watched it. It was terrible. Um,
PTSD from that game was like literally like like when they played the Browns in preseason, like I was ready for that to happen again. Miles Garrett didn't even play. Like I was ready for like boom, Justin Fields goes down 9 times, three less completions than sacks. Like, can you imagine as a Bears fan, like you're waiting to watch your star quarterback, and here he is in the shotgun every single fucking play, first drive, 4th and 1. They go little flip dash pass that Matt Nagy loves. Like literally like the worst game of my. I would rather watch the double doink again than watch that
yeah,
Browns game. I'm not even kidding. So bad.
how is hell? Um, yeah, Miles Garrett can just disrupt a game like really no one else
Yeah.
in the NFL. I mean, obviously, no one,
Insane.
but
From every
it's
position too.
he's only gotten better over the course of his career in the NFL. I think last season he kind of hit his ceiling, which is not a bad ceiling to have. I mean, if he improves on that, that'd be awesome. But it'd be hard to improve on being the best rated, best graded pass rusher in the league. He's an all timer here. I'm glad. It's always nice when those first picks in the draft they hit and they're what they're sold to be.
Yeah,
And
really good.
that's what happened. And yeah,
Yeah, that was a
Stefanski.
great draft. I love
Yeah,
2017.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the best one
yeah.
ever. The number two pick turned out just as well, I think, actually.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah. Thankfully, like the number 2 pick was really good, in the 10 and 12.
yeah,
Specifically, the 10 was really turned out really bad. Bad scheme fit, fat
it didn't
coach, like
work
all
out
that
well.
stuff. And I'm glad
And
Matt
then
Nagy is still with the Chiefs.
yeah, it
Yeah,
all worked
like
out.
he's
And
yeah.
yeah,
2017, he was there. He's still there now. It's crazy, crazy. Matt
second
Nagy's there, and with that great. That's all, I can't believe that happened. That's the worst
second
thing ever. And they were really the Browns were really close to taking Mitch too.
were
So
they really? I
I
didn't
mean,
know them.
the Bears were dangerously close to Miles Garrett. Dangerously close. Well,
That's
there
a
was
hard.
3. I don't know if the 49ers would have taken him, but maybe the Bears would have taken. But the Browns take Mitch, and the Bears call him. Oh, we're taking a quarterback. John Fox loved Deshaun. He would have been the pick. I mean, again, that
Um,
didn't end up turning out very well, but and at the
I
time,
mean,
like,
yeah, it's
and
still
for the
talent.
3 years after that, like 2018, the Bears won the Super Bowl with Deshaun.
Oh, for sure.
Easily,
Yeah.
easily.
No,
Best
like
defense,
they go
second best
undefeated.
defense ever. Second
Yeah.
best defense of the last decade, DVOA wise. The number 1 defense is the 2011 Bears that missed the
Really?
playoffs. 2012 Bears.
2012. That was my first season of watching football. That
Yes,
team
yes.
had
Where
like a defense
the seven
touchdown
and one
every.
Bears missed the playoffs, and the 10-6 Bears fired Lovie Smith and hired Mark Trestman over Bruce Arians.
Yep. 2012, they had the
Glamour
best
time.
defense in the league and the worst offense. And then 2013, they had the best offense in the league and the worst.
Top Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker
Yeah.
led defense, 32nd ranked.
Oh my God.
I mean, Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Martellus Bennett, Alshon, like that.
That,
Matt Forte.
yeah,
The line was good. Like, oh my
best Bears offense is probably of all time. I mean, talent
ever, not even close. No, and production wise too.
I mean,
Ugh.
go look up Alshon Jeffrey's 2013 game against the Minnesota Vikings, where he made three of the
with
greatest
with
catches ever.
Josh McCown. That I mean,
Yeah, Josh
I
McCown.
remember where I was at watching that game. That was the greatest game I think I've ever watched in my life. Literally, like you, Josh McCown fucking throw it up to him, and Alshon Jeffrey catch it on his helmet and like behind his
It's,
fucking back and the tip back. Unbelievable. Like
we had
Josh
Calvin Johnson
McCown,
too.
Josh McCown, 2013 best ever Bears quarterback.
Yeah, people don't remember his Monday night
86.8
game against the
PFF grade.
Cowboys. 88? Did he really?
86. 86.8 that year. I'm pretty sure.
Dude,
I think
his
I've
game
looked
against
before.
the Cowboys on Monday Night Football was like one of my favorite games ever. That game
You
was
know what?
sick. He was so good. Like what a
While
trooper. I'll
you
always love
while
Josh
you
McCown for
transition
that.
into the Steelers, I'm gonna check Josh McCown's 2013 grade against the Cowboys.
Now, funny you mentioned the Steelers because they have that number 2 overall pick that we were discussing here. He's still starting for one of the cornerstone franchise in the NFL, which you absolutely love to see. Nothing more you can ask for. Second pick in the draft. His name is none other than Mitchell Trubisky. Watched many painful years with him. He ruined me, and Steelers are projected to win 7.5 games with him this year. This Steelers team is is bleak to me, but I
Yeah,
have a feeling we have probably pretty aligned feelings on the Steelers team. All right, what was the Josh McCown?
it's like okay. So Josh McCown grade that year was 86.4. His grade in that Cowboys game was a 79.
Oh, 79. That's so sad.
Yeah, I
But
know, I know. I thought it was gonna be better. Um. Anyway, Steelers wise,
7.5 is their win total.
it's like Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his career up until this year.
Yep.
Where he will go under because he has Mitchell Trubisky starting for him. Uh, I mean, like I'll say it now. Like I love Mitch. I will. Don't tell anyone. I will 100% root for him every single start. I want him to be great. You know, like it'd be hypocritical of me to like sit there like root against him after I was like literally his biggest fan for however long. I hope he's great. If you would have told me in fucking 2017 that he'd be starting in year 6 or year 7 or whatever, what is it now? Is it year 7? No, year 6. It's year 6
Is it?
because we declined his 5th year option. Last year was his 5th
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
2017, 2018, 19, 21. Yeah, 6th year. I
60.
would have been like over the moon happy. It turns out not for the Bears, but yeah,
So
he's
sad.
so
I
bad.
mean,
He's so
oh yeah.
bad. That offensive line is terrible. They kept Okafor and Dan Moore as their tackles, who are not good. They replaced Mason Cole, I think. No. They got Mason Cole from the Vikings. Don't quote me on that. I think so. James
Cardinals.
Daniels. They from the Cardinals. Are you sure?
He's in a Cardinals jersey here. Let's see.
They traded him to the. I know the Cardinals traded him to the Vikings last year.
Okay. Oh, that's probably right.
Yeah. James Daniels was good last year. He sucked in preseason so far, but he'll be fine.
Mhm.
I mean, the offense is just unspectacular. I mean, Deontay Johnson is really good. They just paid him. They should trade Chase Claypool to the Bears. I don't know why they haven't yet.
I know.
Um, George Pickens was a great pick. Like, I mean, they are really talented at wide receiver. Like, very, very, very talented. They still have James Washington. No, just kidding. James Washington is on the Cowboys. Um, sorry, their wide receivers are talented. The rest of the offense is not. Um, Najee Harris is like, I think they're going to run the football a lot. Like a lot. And I think James Daniels is a pretty good zone guard. So I think Najee Harris will have a pretty good year. But that offense will be middle of the pack as long as Mitchell Trubisky or even Kenny Pickett is starting. That offense's ceiling is not high. Floor is pretty low too with Trubisky starting. Raises a little bit with Pickett. Um, but I mean, defense is really good. T.J. Watt is really, really good. Cam Hayward's really, really good. Um, they have Akella Witherspoon now as one of their corners. But you know they got Miles Jack, who's really bad last year after being one of the top linebackers in the league, but he's getting old, so I didn't expect him to be much better this year. Devin Bush has been unspectacular. Um, Terrell Edmonds has been okay. Like I mean, their defense is fine. They have two really, really, really good players. Um, so I mean, I could see that being a top 10 unit again. But the offense is just so unspectacular in a division where it's pretty competitive. Like it's so hard to bet against Tomlin, and you know the only reason I'd ever pick them to go over because I don't think their team is a over 7 win or an 8 win team or better, is because of Tomlin. But there's literally zero causation between that. It's just a pretty cool correlation fact. So I'm not going to get trapped in that stupid mind of thinking, and I'm going to go under on them. I think they're a 7 win team. Very, very mid. But being the worst team in that division, I think they lose more games than they should. And obviously, Vegas knows 7.5 is lower than I would expect them to be. But I'm still going to go under on them.
Yeah, I this is an under for sure. I mean, I'd be shocked if this team won 8 or 9 games, honestly. I don't see it happening. I don't know how. I mean, look, Mitch is not good. We like I think most fans know it at this point because but the sad part to me is if we had heard something along the lines of Mitch is having like the sickest camp ever and like Mitch is just like dotting up him and George Pickens are like the duo of the future. Like I promise you, everyone and their mother would be saying buy the Steelers this year, buy Mitch. But it's just because everyone has this weird Nagy Stockholm syndrome where they just want to blame everything on him. And like, yeah, okay, look, Matt Nagy was terrible, but Mitch was also like just as much, if not more, of the problem.
Been terrible, so bad.
And you should not be buying Mitch under any circumstance. You can't. He's really terrible, and maybe he's learned a bit in Buffalo, but I don't know. He's not him. I think I like Kenny Pickett a little bit more than I did like pre-draft. I think he's kind of he had a really impressive preseason and proved, I mean, that he can at least I think start games this year. Um, I think he's probably an upgrade over Mitch week one for sure. But I I think a lot of the season for the Steelers is just when are they going to move on to Kenny Pickett, obviously, because it'll become apparent by halftime week one that Mitch is not the answer.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully they get a full season of average Mitch so they can just keep dragging it along.
Average Mitch would be better than every other year.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The wide receivers are good. I will say one thing on George Pickens is I hate more than anything the highlights of wide receivers who win 50-50 balls from training camp because if you have that many opportunities for 50-50 balls and you're not really winning training camp, the reason why Justin Jefferson doesn't get 100 training camp clips is because he's 3 yards away
Wide
from the
open.
corner.
Yeah.
It's you don't want these contested catch guys anymore. And so George Pickens has been getting like so much love, obviously, from the media, from everyone.
Yeah,
but
he's like one of the rookie of the year favorites. Insane.
Yeah, cool. Your Jets on George Pickens, everyone. I will say. I mean, I like the draft pick. I still think he's good. I think he'll have a good career. I don't think he's even close to the best rookie receiver. I mean, like
No.
off the top of my head, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Treylon Burks, and Sky Moore probably. I think we'll all have better seasons.
Olave probably too.
Oh yeah, Olave too. And I mean, as soon as Jameson Williams is back, he's the best receiver at the bunch.
I keep forgetting about him. Damn.
Yeah.
I do not want to face him twice a year.
And this offensive line, I mean, it gets better as you go inside, but that's not really what you want.
Right.
I don't know. This offense is going to be pretty putrid, I think. I think they've got some nice receivers in Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and I think George Pickens is still a good talent and is, someone they're obviously going to focus on. But outside of that, it's beyond unremarkable. It's pretty bad, especially with Mitch. I mean, if you put Lamar Jackson on this team, it's probably a good offense. It's a really good offense, but it's unfortunately Mitch. And defensively, I don't really like their secondary that much. I mean, I don't like Edmonds. Minka had a
I
tough
forgot to
year last.
mention Minka. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, since 2019, it's just been going downhill, but hopefully he's able to turn around. I mean, I like Minka. Um, Now obviously, they have TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, probably the two best interior linemen, or the two best defensive linemen that play together, I'd imagine off the top of my head. I mean, they're both fantastic and they're going to generate a lot of pressure.
yeah.
Um,
Now
and
that Aaron Donald and Von Miller aren't together, I agree with
yes,
you.
um, the
Insane.
Steelers though, they're just a relic of the past. I think this Packers, Steelers, Patriots syndrome has really hit the Steelers the hardest, um, because they have made it, I think, abundantly clear through their drafting, through their free agency process in the past couple of years that they don't really actually know how to win in the modern NFL. Um, and I think they can get there. I just think they need an overhaul. They need an organizational overhaul. And look, what Mike Tomlin built there, and I don't even care if they really leave Tomlin as head coach, but like what they did there was working for so long, obviously. So it's not just like you can tell them now, hey, your time has passed, like you need to switch up, because they've been gotten so used to consistent winning. And good for them. I'm sure they were one of the more advanced teams in the league for a very long time, but
Right.
they're not anymore. And they are playing in a division with probably the two smartest organizations in the league, and a team who has the best wide receiver, or the second best wide receiver for the next 10 years, and a top five quarterback for the next 10 years. So they need to realize they need to switch things up. And I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to be enough to let them keep drafting Najee Harris in the first round.
Brutal.
Um,
Yeah. Running
yeah,
back round 1 year, that low upside quarterback the next year. Rough.
I mean, yeah, it's just brutal. It's so bad, and you then take a look at the Steelers and wonder how they got here. But this is how teams get to where they are. It's by making bad decisions. Anyways, enough hating on the Steelers, because I think they're really the only team deserving of hate from this division. I think this is generally a very competitive and fun division. I mean, and good for the Bengals, that their two top 10 draft picks hit. Um, Anyways, how do you think this division ends up looking?
So I'm gonna go Ravens 1, Bengals 2. I want to blank on the other team. Steelers 4. Oh, Browns 3.
I'm gonna agree with that order. I think Ravens 1, Bengals 2, Browns 3, Steelers 4. I think I think the Bengals and Ravens is gonna be a fun race to watch. And while I will not be cheering for them, I think the Browns will certainly have their hat in the race. I mean, at least if Jacoby's able to hold things together. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a good division to watch. It's gonna be fun.
For sure.
Um,
Nobody really that good, but a lot of good teams.
yeah, yeah. Three potential playoff teams, which is more than the rest of the AFC can say, but or well, other than the West. Um, yeah, we've got 50 minutes here until kickoff.
Oh, that's exciting.
Cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for listening. We had a blast as always. And next time we talk to you, there will be an NFL game in the books, which is so exciting.
We have one more division.
One more. We have one more. And then
Almost done. And then weekly, we will probably have some type of weekly like recap or something like that.
yeah, we'll do
We'll
some
bring
fun
some
stuff.
guests on and stuff. Have some fun.
Thank you guys so much. We're excited to do in-season content. A lot of that was just kind of so you guys know how we feel about the NFL in totality. But yeah, thank you guys. See you next week.